Wednesday, February 1st, 2023 is now called to order. The first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could all stand and join us. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. It always does sound nice with a full room, so thank you. All right, next on the agenda is the approval of minutes for the January 18th, 2023 meeting. Ms. Hantman tells me that the updated minutes are in our packets. What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion the board waive a reading of the minutes and approve them as provided for January 18th, 2023.
Okay, I have a motion by member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second by member Rosenberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? That is unanimous. Thank you. Next is public comment. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak to the Board of Selectmen this evening? If so, please come to the podium and state your name.
Thank you. Haley Meswar, Town Clerk. Just a couple of announcements this evening. The annual census has been mailed out. It was mailed out at the beginning of January, and I want to thank about 45% of you out there in Adams that have returned their census. Thank you very much. But I'm appealing to the other 55% to please return your census if you can. Even if there's no changes, we would like to get you updated into our system. Along with the dog licenses too, there were applications that were mailed in your census. If you have a dog and you want to, if it's more convenient for you to do it by sending it through the mail for us to license the dog, feel free to do that. That has been working out pretty well so far this year, so feel free to do that, and certainly any questions, give my office a call. The other thing I want to talk about is the annual town election. It's scheduled the first Monday in May, which happens to be May Day, May 1st. It will be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Our voting location, just as a friendly reminder, is at the Memorial Building at 30 Columbia Street, and you'll access the building from the Valley Street side. The election calendar is all set. Nomination papers are now available at the town clerk's office. If you wish to run for any office that's going to be on the ballot, I'll give you a rundown, a real quick rundown. And again, all this information is on the town website, so feel free to look it up if you want to. The deadline for incumbent town meeting members is March 6th. Postcards have been mailed to all of you out there, so feel free to get that in as soon as possible. And the deadline for all nominations to be submitted to the office is March 13th. And again, the annual town election will be May 1st. I'll be back before the board talking about the deadline to register to vote. There's still quite a bit of time. It's going to be April 21st, but I'll be back before the board talking about that also, and again about absentee balloting and vote by mail. So I'll just give you a really quick rundown of what's going to be on the ballot this year. The moderator's position, there will be 1 selectman, 1 assessor, 1 Board of Health member, 2 trustees, 2 park commissioners, 1 planning board, 1 cemetery commission member. There's 2 different openings for the Housing Authority member, a Redevelopment Authority member, and a member to the McCann School and Northern Berkshire Vocational Regional School District Committee. And the Hoosick Valley Regional School Committee, there's 1 opening. And there are various town meetings slots available too, so feel free, if you're interested in any one of these positions, please reach out to my office, and we'll be more than happy to get you hooked up with some nomination papers. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here for public comment? Madam Treasurer.
Hi, Kelly Rice, the treasurer. I'm just here to let everyone know that we have a town scholarship, and I do fundraising to keep it up and running. We are going to be having a musical bingo at Mingo's on Saturday, February 11th at 6:30. The tickets are $25 a piece. Anybody who would like one can come to the town hall to get a ticket or see me. I do have them on me if you see me around town. And you can also purchase them at Mingo's. They are cash prizes. There's also going to be raffles, door prizes, an auction table, because we do fund anywhere from 7 to 15 scholarships at $300 apiece with the children from Hoosick Valley and McCann's that live in Adams. I just wanted to get it out there that if anybody would like to join us, please do. It is again Saturday, February 11th at 6:30. The doors open at 6, and it is $25 a person. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, all right. Hearing none, we'll move on to old business. Under old business, we have review and approve renewal of the inn holder's license for Mount Royal Inn at 99 Howland Avenue. I know Mr. Garner was not able to attend this evening, but he has sent word through Ms. Hantman that the inspection did go well and that there were no additional issues that were found. Is there anything else that he needed to share?
No, he seemed satisfied with the status and ready to move forward.
Okay. If the board is satisfied with that report, we can take this off the table and move forward with this license, if the board should want to. And apparently I was the one who made the motion to put it on the table, so I guess I would make a motion to take it, or put it back on the table, sorry.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that puts it before the board to officially review the approval of the renewal of the inn holder's license for Mount Royal Inn at 99 Howland Ave. I know we've spent a number of meetings on this matter, so what is the board's pleasure with this?
I'll make a motion that the board approve the renewal of inn holder's license for Mount Royal Inn, 99 Holland Ave.
I have a motion by member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by member Rosenberg. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I'm going to vote yes, but it's, I'm very hesitant to do so, but I will vote, and I'm hoping that this doesn't reoccur next year. It's been ongoing with this business for at least 4 years, so I just wanted to bring that point up before the vote.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the approval of that license?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed or an abstention? That is unanimous. Ms. Hantman, will you let the innkeeper know? Okay. All right, that brings us to new business. And item A, oh, I see that one of our guests has arrived for item A under new business. We have ratification of Curtis Crane as sergeant for the Adams Police Department. And I will turn this over to our town administrator, Jay Green.
Sure, thank you. As our department meanders their way into the meeting room, giving a little background, Town of Adams fields 4 sergeants as part of our staff. The sergeants are responsible for a variety of different administrative details, providing leadership to department staff, particularly our younger officers. They're responsible for a variety of different administrative functions, such as staffing, motor pool management, things like that. We had a vacancy in one of our sergeant positions. One of our officers moved on to the Massachusetts State Police. That created a vacancy. We still had 2 officers remaining in that promotional pool, eligible for promotion. And then tonight in front of you, you have that officer that will be promoted. Everyone knows Officer Crane, soon to be Sergeant Crane, and his partner Kumar. And with that, I'll turn it over to the Chief of the Department, Chief Kelly.
Good evening.
Board of Selectmen. So I've mentioned this before when we've had occasions like this, and I put together something to read to you about either my career or officers. And I'll say this again, it's always hard to put on a page an officer's career. So you kind of hit the highlights and what you think of them, and off you go. First, I'd like to acknowledge some people that came with Kurt. You see that we came, as we usually do, to support our officers, our police department. But also Kurt's wife Laura, Jack, Carter, which Jack, he may speak up anytime he feels, and that's the way we're going to work this.
He can come sit here if he'd like and see everything.
And John and Denise Crane. So with that, I'd like to present to you tonight Curtis Crane as our next sergeant with Adams Police Department. Kurt is a longtime resident of Adams, and he has lived his life, or at least most of it, in the Berkshires. He attended school here, to include Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts. In 2010, after being a reserve for several years, he attended and graduated the Massachusetts State Police Academy as a member of the Adams Police Department. Since then, Kurt has attended numerous trainings such as patrol procedures, narcotics investigations, narcotics interdictions. That's just a few of the highlights. Obviously, you know, we attend a lot of training every year, but you know, these are some of the ones that jumped out at me. In 2012, he was assigned to the sexual assault unit as an investigator, and he still holds that position. In 2013, he became Adams' first ever canine handler and was given his current partner, Kumar. With Kumar's leadership, Kurt has been involved in numerous drug seizures, evidence recoveries, and tracking vulnerable persons, whether they be missing or injured, what have you. I am extremely proud of Kurt's growth and his accomplishments. I see that he works every day to be the best husband, father, and police officer he can, and in that order. His dedication to the town shows, and I would be honored to have him as a sergeant. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. All right. Anything else? Town Administrator.
I just want to echo Chief Kelly's words about Sergeant Crane. Kurt and I have chatted on and off over my 4 years. Having a canine officer, having that resource in the town of Adams, not just protects our community, but also provides a resource to other communities from a regionalization standpoint. I'm proud of what the department does. I'm proud of where the department is going. And having officers such as Sergeant Crane, you know, he's going to be taking the midnight shift. That is not an easy ask of an officer with a young family, but he knows that is what he needs to do in order to further himself and lead the department. And I think it's important that people understand that the way our officers work, what asked of them, particularly in this day and age, is just turn on the television and you can see it. We have some of the best men and women, I feel, that wear a uniform protecting the town. And on my behalf, I thank Kurt and all of our officers for what they do every day. So I'm glad to see those stripes on you, Kurt, and that it's worked out.
Thank you.
All right, well, so there's an official business that has to take place by the Board of Selectmen. And before us is the ratification of Curtis Crane as Sergeant for the Adams Police Department. What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion that the board ratify the appointment of Curtis Crane as Sergeant for the Adams Police Department.
I have a motion by Member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second by Member Novak.
No.
Any discussion?
Rosenberg.
Rosenberg, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So sorry. I'm caught up in the moment. I'm emotional about it. So I do have a motion and a second, and do I have any discussion?
Well, I'd like to say that I'm very happy to vote to appoint you as our sergeant. I've known you for quite some time, and your family are great people, and you're deserving of the promotion.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, congratulations on the promotion. Well deserved.
And it was nice to come into the building this evening. I got to meet some of your family, and they were admiring the Kumar statue and donation collection.
Who has the key for that?
I do.
Yeah.
Bag of food a week.
But you have done a nice job bringing our police department out into the community. I know that Kumar helps with that as well, but I always appreciate when I can see you out there and talking to our residents and children and so forth. So this brings me a lot of pleasure to see you here tonight in this role.
I'm proud of her.
Awesome.
Well, if there's nothing else, all those in favor?
Aye.
And that is unanimous.
Easy.
Congratulations.
I should note also, in case anyone wants to know who our sergeants are, Sergeant
Yes.
Wright, Sergeant Honorado, why don't you, they also joined Senior Sergeant Donna Malloy as well. So those are our 4 sergeants.
Once again, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing the photos afterwards of the entire department.
I love the covers. Keep it up.
Yep. It's okay. Yep. You're very welcome.
Stay as long as you want. Take pictures.
Yep. Yep. Okay. All right. And thank you. Oh. I love it. Okay. So item B under new business is the ratification of a corporal position for the Adams Police Department. We are being asked to table this until our next meeting.
It's a brand-new position, as I've instructed the board, and we're still working out some of the procedural aspects of it, but I anticipate we'll have that in front of you February 15th.
Okay. Do I have a motion to table that?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And that is unanimous. That brings us to item C, ratification of Seth Brooks as wastewater treatment plant assistant mechanic. We do have a letter in our packet. Did you want me to read that?
No, I can read it. I can read it
Okay.
for you. Seth, come on up. This is your time. Although you don't look as fancy without the uniform, but that's okay. Your position is just as critical. This letter is to advise the Board of Selectmen that Mr. Seth Brooks has been appointed to the position of Assistant Maintenance Mechanic Operator 2 at the wastewater treatment plant. As provided in Section 10 of the Town Charter, I am pleased to present Mr. Brooks for your ratification this evening. Seth comes to us from the City of Cohoes DPW, where he has worked as a laborer since 2018. Prior to his time with the municipal DPW, Seth worked in the commercial electric trade, including time with National Grid and facility maintenance. He holds an associate's degree in electrical construction and maintenance from Hudson Valley Community College, holds a certificate in building maintenance, and served in the United States Marine Corps. This position is a critical position at the wastewater treatment facility and has been a challenge to both recruit and retain qualified candidates for the position. Of the 7 positions allocated to staff the facility, only 2 are specifically assigned to facility maintenance, requiring a working knowledge of the plant's systems. It is imperative that institutional knowledge be begun to be transferred to junior staff from our experienced staff. Although Seth will have a steep learning curve, he made efforts in visiting the plant ahead of time, spoke with the chief operator and maintenance mechanic and superintendent, and has begun to review the materials necessary to become a licensed wastewater operator. During his interview, he demonstrated a solid work ethic, and he possesses the skill set to successfully take on the challenge of learning the responsibilities of helping manage critical infrastructure. Seth will begin his duties on or about February 6th after successfully completing all hiring requirements at the hourly rate of $19.78 as provided for in the current governing collective bargaining agreement between the Town of Adams and our DPW union, AFCSME Local 204.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So we do have the business matter in front of us to ratify your appointment, so if I can get a motion?
I'll make a motion to ratify the appointment of Seth Brooks as wastewater treatment plant assistant mechanic.
I have a motion by Member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Rosenberg. I got it right that time. Any discussion?
Just a quick question, Seth. How did you hear about this job?
I didn't. I just came down and submitted a resume.
Okay,
So I was looking for changes and
yeah,
God guided me here.
okay.
Seth had originally applied for DPW operator, but Seth doesn't possess the CDL. If you remember, we hired Matt.
Yep, I do
Matt
remember.
had the CDL.
Yep.
Well, when we interviewed Seth, we realized in looking at his resume, it might be a good fit for the wastewater treatment plant. So we told him, speak with the plant operator, go over, take a look, see what you're getting into, see if you think it's a good fit. And he came back and said he'd be interested, and the wastewater treatment staff said he's got the skill set. We interviewed him again for it, and here he is tonight, so.
The swimming lessons paid off.
Yeah, he wants to, yeah. He also demonstrated a good sense of humor. It's probably from the Marine Corps, so he'll fit in just fine with our crew here.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Welcome
Thank
to
you
the
very
town of
much. I really
Adams.
appreciate the opportunity.
Welcome, sir.
Next on the agenda is the appointment of Barb Zimba to the Adams Council on Aging Advisory Board, and I believe Council on Aging Director Sarah Fontaine is here.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I believe you have the letter in your packets, but I'm going to read it for the folks at home. It says, Dear Jay and Select Board members, subject to the Select Board's ratification, we'd like to recommend Adams resident Barb Zimba be appointed to the vacant position on the Adams Council on Aging Advisory Board. During our January meeting, a vote was held and unanimously approved to make said recommendation to the Adams Select Board. Barb was a former nurse at the North Adams Regional Hospital for 30 years and another 10 years as a post-op nurse at the Adams Cataract Center. She has an extensive history of volunteerism, including 32 years on the Adams Planning Board, long-term member and officer for the Adams Lions Club, and the Adams Council on Aging Brown Bag Program. This program offers monthly non-perishable food items to seniors who qualify under Food Bank of Western Massachusetts guidelines. In addition, Barb is an active member in weekly COA programs and activities. We would be honored to have her join the Adams COA Advisory Board as well. If any additional information is needed, please just let me know.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. So the Board of Selectmen does appoint members to the Adams Council on Aging Advisory Board. So we are being asked to appoint Barb Zimba. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint, that the board appoint Barb Zimba to the Adams Council on Aging Advisory Board.
I have a motion by Member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Rosenberg. Any discussion? I'll just say I've known Barb for a long time, and I think your letter summed it up pretty well. She's been quite involved, and I think she'll be a wonderful addition
I agree.
to the advisory board, so you consider yourself lucky.
Yes, we do.
That she made time.
Love you, Barb.
If there isn't any further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Great, thank you so much.
Please
I'll let
thank
know.
her on
And
our
she
behalf.
apologizes that she was not able to make it. I thought it may be postponed to the 15th, and she had other plans for this evening, so.
We'll forgive her.
We'll forgive her. yeah.
Thanks, Sarah.
All right,
for-
thank you.
Thank
We
you.
know where to find her. All right. Next item is a facility use request requiring street closure for the Adams Street Fair. I did see Joe Martin here, so Joe, if you wanted to come forward, it looks like you're getting your planning in early.
Joe starts early
It's great.
with new garb, too.
Yes.
Like it.
So Joe and Leanne, if you wanted to reintroduce yourselves to the board.
My name is Joseph Martin. I am the chairman of the Adams Street Fair.
I'm Leanne O'Brien, I'm co-chair.
Great. And it looks like you've put forward paperwork here for use of the visitor center, the parking lot, Depot Street and Hoosick Street for Saturday, June 24th, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the third annual?
June 24th.
Third annual, right?
Yes,
Okay.
third annual.
All right. Jay or Bree, is there anything that you wanted to add?
No, Joe has been, and his team has been consistent with the request. They seem to have dialed in pretty well what works for them, what not, and they certainly know how to speak with the public safety team, particularly Chief Kelly, talk about the road closures. So we endorse the board's actions tonight to approve.
Okay. And, so this is for the event itself, to the visitor center parking lot, Depot Street and Hoosick Street. I think last year there were some additional streets as part of a parade route that you had requested. Are you requesting those this time? Or is it all going to be contained to Depot?
It's going to be the same as last year.
Okay,
They're going to start at Valley Street, come
Okay.
down to the, I think it's East Maple.
all right.
We had a nice turnout last year for the parade,
Even though it was very hot.
Yes, it was very warm.
100-something degrees.
And the duration of that parade was not,
It was
was
15
brief.
minutes,
Yeah.
if that.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's not a long closure of the roads. And then have you submitted your insurance paperwork
Yes.
to town? Okay. And-
Sorry, I have that in my handout.
Okay. And you've been able to check to make sure that there is no expiration date and everything?
I checked it over.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the lack of attachment.
That's okay. This is your first one of these for this event.
She did very good.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. Listen, I have no doubt that you'll make sure that she knows what needs to happen between now and June 24th. Okay. What would be the board's pleasure?
Just a quick question, how far up Hoosick are you looking? Is it just to like 7 Hoosick Street?
To the Waverly parking lot.
You're right, 7 Hoosick?
Yeah. Right after,
Between 5 and
right
7.
before the bridge, like we did all 3 years.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion, the board approve the facilities use request for the Adams Visitor Center, parking lot, Depot Street, up to, it's east.
School Street.
School Street. This
School
year-
Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've added a car show this year, so that's going to be closer to School Street.
Yeah.
this
Okay,
year.
so Depot to School Street, and then Hoosick up to 7 Hoosick Street.
Yes.
I have a motion by member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I just have a question as our offices are located at the visitor
Yep.
center. Is the request for the interior of the visitor center access as well as the exterior?
Yes,
Yes.
And is there,
for that Saturday.
is there a plan for the interior to be cleaned?
My
or-
husband does all
Yeah.
that.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, we
that-
clean it,
Yep.
we clean it, have it monitored all day,
Yep.
and then at the end, we go in and make sure everything's cleaned and wiped down, and
Wonderful.
trash is empty.
All right, thank
The
you.
parking lot's all empty, it's like nothing was even there.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to take that vote again. That's okay. Nope, thank you for waving your arm. I did not see you at first. All those in favor? Aye. And that is unanimous. And then, Joe and Leanne, it looks like you are on the agenda for the next item about a proposed Zabini Family Circus. Did I say it correctly?
Yep.
Okay. Go
The
ahead.
Zabini Family Circus wants to come to Adams July 14th, 15th, 16th at the Adams Fairgrounds. We already got permission from the fairgrounds. I met with all the departments for Adams, the police department, fire department, the building inspector, and Board of Health.
For health purposes.
We set up the whole meeting with all the department heads.
Okay.
And everybody was on board. We called Zabrini Family Circus while we were in the meeting, and they had some questions, and they got them taken care of right away. There's a $5 million insurance policy that was already sent over to Bree from them. They add additional, the Adams Fair as additional insured, the Adams Street Fair, and the Town of Adams as additional insured. There is no exotic animals in the circus, just, there's dogs and cats and donkeys and ponies. No lions, no tigers, no bears.
Oh, my. Sorry, somebody else did it too. It wasn't just me. You led me right there. I couldn't help. Okay, sorry. So it is at the Aggie Fair grounds over on, or at Bow Field. So there is not an approval needed from this board because we're not looking for any permits or licensing for this event. This is just informational.
Right, we just wanted to bring it to you in case you had any questions for us.
So I'll open it up to the board if anyone has any questions about the Zerbini Family Circus.
Well,
questions? Okay.
I would just like to say that if it's wet during those periods, I think you're familiar with the fairgrounds, it's going to be a slog. And I hope that that's not the case.
We're praying.
And then I think parking seems, I know when I was associated with the fair, we had permission to park cars up on the top. And I've noticed that hasn't been upkept too well, so prior to that, it would be to your advantage to get in there and cut that so that you'll have adequate parking. Will there be any charging for parking?
No.
Okay.
We were going to ask because the money goes to the first responders, we were going to ask them, because there's 5 shows.
Yeah.
We were going to ask them at each show to pick a day if they wanted to set up a bucket as the car's coming in, if they, a donation, if the car, if the people want to give a donation as they're coming in, but there's no charge for parking. It's just a donation. If you want to give it, you don't have to.
Okay.
But there's 5 shows. It only holds, I believe, 2,000 people per show. We have free kids tickets that are going to go out in all the stores. We have Pittsfield, Lenox, Lanesboro, Cheshire, all the towns that are, I picked a store, and each store is going to sell adult tickets for the circus, as far as up to Great Barrington and Bennington, Vermont. The kids ticket is a free kid that gets to go in with a paid adult. And Zabini called me, and he was going to go at $10 for a child ticket at the door. But he said that because we're such a small town and it's for the first responders, he wants to get a good sellout, he's going down to $5.
And this is a circus that's been in Berkshire County before. They used to, it was a Dalton.
Dalton.
They used to set up in Dalton.
The Dalton Lions Club used to have them.
It's the first time I've ever seen an application for a vendor like this that actually spells out pretty well what a municipal process is, not just in the Commonwealth, but frankly nationwide. So I've been impressed actually, looking through this, because most of it is what requirements we have. So you can tell they've been around for a while.
Oh yeah, they go right down to the checking the bleachers, everything.
As soon as Joe said, Joe and his ever-changing big ideas, he says, we're gonna have a circus, and I went, all right, no, let's talk about this. And we did research of them, and have they ever been accused of animal cruelty, and we dug into them really deep, because there was no way I was gonna go.
I wanted Ring On Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, but they're too big.
That's why Scarf perform at our next street fair. That's not gonna happen either.
Bree?
And just a couple other notes based off of some questions that I had, some questions that Chief Kelly had during our meeting. So obviously there's concerns about animals, like Joe mentioned, no large, no exotic animals. But also in speaking with the group that owns this, we did speak to a representative. We informed them that our animal control officer will go through and do an animal safety check prior to each event. The fire chief and chief of police also spoke about parking, as well as maintaining access for emergency vehicles if need be. They felt very comfortable with that. And then we talked about all of the different permits and licenses necessary from all of the different departments, and everyone felt comfortable and on board with this event. We had a really lengthy conversation, but good conversation with all these different departments, as well as Joe and the folks representing the circus.
I'd like to add one other thing, if I could. I think it'd be, once again, also advantageous before the event goes on to have the highway department go down there and to flush the piping that leads out to the road from the bathrooms, because the grade there isn't all that good, and there hasn't been much use with the fairground in the past number of years, so I think it'd be to your advantage to have them go down there. You would have to ask our town administrator, but they've always done it in the past. So if you get up and running and then all of a sudden your bathrooms are all, you know, plugged up, it's
We're going to also have porta johns there too.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And lastly, Bree, you just said that Board of Health has been notified?
Yes, part of this is that there's no other outside vendors coming in.
Yeah.
So there's no additional food trucks, no additional restaurants coming in. So that was another concern, but they will have their own food vendor. It's a singular, I believe singular vendor, who will be inspected, and it's no other folks in or out. So Sarah LaSure, code enforcement officer, felt comfortable with that as well.
Yeah, and you're gonna need to make sure that the water's hot water, you need that. I think in the past, I know we had the fair that you had for washing your hands, like in the restrooms and that type of thing, and there is a hot water heater there, but once again, I don't know, you know, that's another thing you might want to do too. So I'm just trying to give you aforementioned ideas, because I know they feel pretty good.
Just to recap, it'll be the Zervini Family Circus, July 14th, which is a Friday, with shows at 5 and 7 p.m. Saturday, July 15th, with shows at 4 and 6 p.m. And Sunday, July 16th, with a matinee of 2 p.m. So 5 shows total. All right. And that'll be at the Aggie Fairgrounds. Well, thanks for coming in and letting us know.
One last thing, if
sure.
you send out this, make sure you spell release right. That will look better.
He didn't spell check with me.
I know. I noticed you spell it. I know you for a long time, yeah.
I saw it afterwards. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
take care.
Joe.
Best
Thanks,
of luck.
Leanne.
Quadruple what we did last year.
I have no doubt. Okay. All right. Next, we have a request by the Adams Retirement Board to increase the annual cost of living adjustment, and I believe Bill Flynn is here. And I think you have members of your retirement board here as well, if there are any additional questions.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bill Flynn. I'm the administrator for the Adams Retirement Board, and I also have here Chairperson Holly Jaco and Board Member George Haddad. So I'm here tonight to present to the Select Board for their approval Chapter 269 of the Acts of 2022 allows the local retirement board, it's a special act of legislation that will allow the local retirement board to increase the COLA from the approved 3% up to a 5% COLA. Back in 1997, Chapter 17 of the Acts of 1997 allowed the retirement boards to grant a 3% COLA. With the current economic climate, there was a bill that was submitted, and that became Chapter 269, which would allow the retirement board to pay a 5% COLA, which goes retroactive back to July 1st of 2022. The retirement board voted to approve that, and then it comes to the select board for your approval before it can be ratified. And that's what we're here tonight for.
So, Bill, is Is there a budgetary impact to the town of Adams
Okay.
specifically?
So the actual cost of the COLA is just under $40,000 is what it will cost the retirement board. It comes out of our funds. There is an indirect cost because obviously we're funded by the assessments which come from the town, the school, the housing authority. The way the system will work in regards to this is every 2 years we have an actuarial evaluation study done that is done by the state actuary, and the cost of this will be added into where our unfunded liability is, and from there they take in gains, losses, and everything else, and then they calculate the next appropriation that'll come out after that. But it won't affect your budget, like the '24 budget is set, those won't be affected, it won't change anything, if it even changes anything for 2 years. It's hard to say just because you don't know because of the market. Basically, our funds are all invested, and
Through the chair, I wholeheartedly agree that they should be getting more money. You see it now with Social Security, and I feel as a selectman, we treat our present employees at a pretty good rate compared to other communities doing like work. So I'm all for it. The people that have worked for the town of Adams in the past are deserving of a 2% COLA increase. It's happening all over the country, and I just think it's a fair thing, and I'd wholeheartedly be happy to vote for it.
thank you. Just for the board's information too, the Social Security COLA last year was 5.9, and this year it's going to be 8.7. We are by statute can only go to 3%. This was a special act of legislature just to allow us to go up to 5.
This 5% will be for fiscal year 2023 only, or from here to perpetuity?
This is 1 year.
And then it goes back?
Then it goes back to the 3% maximum.
Okay.
Yep.
What is the board's pleasure?
Jay, is Crystal?
She's aware, she sits on the retirement board as part of her duties as the town accountant, and we don't have any, she voted as such on the
Okay.
retirement board, and she's reviewed it with me.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that the board approve the annual cost of living adjustment for 2023 to be at 5%.
Okay, I have a motion by member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by member Rosenberg. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. And that is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank
and
you,
I'm
Bill.
sure your retirees will thank you as well. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Holly and
I
George.
just want to be sure that Crystal
Oh, yeah.
didn't cause her to.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a one-time act that passed, but we don't have any.
So next on the agenda is the request for a change of officers for Forest Park Country Club, operating at 41 Forest Park Ave. I will turn this over to Ms. Hampman and Attorney St. John, who have reviewed the paperwork.
Yeah, I reviewed the paperwork for this, and as far as Forest Park is concerned, it appears that the paperwork is in order. I did add one thing to the package, and I got a printout from the Secretary of State's office regarding the corporate status and names of officers. ABCC might be interested in knowing that. It has no effect on the application, but I thought it would make it complete if it was added to the package.
Okay.
Other than that, it's fine.
Okay. And anything, Bree, on your end?
No, they submitted this a little while ago, but unfortunately, we weren't able to process it during the relicensing period. There's sort of a short window there wherein we can't switch officers around. So I know that they will be happy to get this off of my desk and into the hands of the ABCC.
Excellent. Anything from the board or a motion?
I'll start with a motion
Sure.
to approve the change of officers for Forest Park Country Club, 41 Forest Park Ave.
I have a motion by Member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Rosenberg. Do you have a question or comment?
Just a comment, in the future, I'd really like to see
The
list of officer changes and so forth.
Okay.
I believe that goes for the next one, too.
Yep. Do we have a list of the officers here that could be read or provided?
Under the paperwork, it's right here.
This Member Blanchard's asking for just the officers. We don't have it in our packet.
Oh, okay. Do you need to know the name of the change, who the appointee is?
Yeah, I'd just like to know.
In the case of Forest Park, the manager will be Jonathan Butler. Jonathan is also the president of Forest Park Country Club Corporation.
Okay, and that was the only change?
That was the only change. That was a change in manager. The next one involves a change in one of the directors. I can give you his name too when you get to it.
Okay.
For Forest Park?
No, that's for Adams
Yeah.
Hometown Market.
So those are the only changes for Forest Park?
That was the only change, was the change of manager.
Yep. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Or an abstention? Okay, that is unanimous. So the next is a request for change of officers for Adams Hometown Market at 1 Myrtle Street. So I will turn it back over.
So what happened here was that one of the directors, I think, resigned and was replaced by a gentleman by the name of Paul Simas, S-I-M-A-S, from Milford. And to follow up on what you've asked about, Rick, is the president is Michael Bizzuto, Juliana Esposito is secretary, Robert Pitko from Adams is one of the directors, and Paul Simas is the other director. And the application only concerns a change, adding Mr. Simas, who's replacing a former director. And that matches up with, I mean, one of the things the ABCC looks at is what is recorded at the Secretary of State's office. So there's a printout from the Secretary of State saying that these have already been sent to the Secretary of State and are on record there.
Now, just out of curiosity, is it Milford, Mass. or Milford, Connecticut?
This is Milford, Mass.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the change of officers for Adams Hometown Market, 1 Myrtle Street.
Okay, I have a motion by Member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
If I could, I don't know, did we take a recorded vote for the Forest Park Country Club?
We did. It was unanimous.
Okay, I thought someone abstained.
Nope.
Oh,
I
okay.
asked if there were any abstentions, but nobody.
Okay.
So I have a motion for Adams Hometown Market change of officers by Member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Rosenberg. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed or an abstention? That is unanimous. Okay. So that brings us to a vote to authorize the final interim loan notes and other conditions for wastewater treatment plant improvement project borrowing from Massachusetts Clean Water Trust. And I will turn this over to the town administrator.
Thank you. So just to bring everybody back up to speed and refresh everyone's recollection, our upgrade project at the wastewater treatment plant, grand total amount is $7.4 million. We ended up borrowing that amount in 2 different requests from town meeting. One in the amount of $5.3 million the balance in 2.3 million, or I should say a little over 5 million the first time around, and the 2.3 million. If you recall, back in November, Bree can give you the exact date, but I believe it was one of our meetings in November, you approved the same type of document for that first batch of money. We're now being asked to do this again for that second batch of money at 2.3 million. That will bring us to the full borrowing amount of 7.4 million that we have to use to pay the contractor for the $7.4 million worth of work. And just as a reminder to everybody, the eventual debt service on the borrowing is not 7.4 million, it is less. I don't have that exact number for you tonight because the Clean Water Trust needs to apply all of that loan forgiveness. And then that final amount, once that's calculated, is the amount that the town will owe back the Clean Water Trust. So Kelly Rice, our treasurer collector, has been working with bond counsel. I have too. We haven't done this since 2005, so this is the procedural step. And the board has to take a vote of items 1 through 7. You can do so all in one motion, as you did before, but those do need to be read into the record as one motion. Again, this is just a step to approve the final interim loan borrowing in the amount of 7.4 million total. You're actually approving the loan borrowing of 2.3 million, which will bring us to the full amount that we have to have. I hope that was clear as mud, or clear as effluent, I guess maybe I should say.
Wow, okay. Everyone has jokes tonight. Yeah. All right, so I will read what is here in front of us. There are 7 articles listed here. If anyone would like me to hold one, I can do so. But I will go ahead and read as the town administrator has asked for this to be read into the record. I, the clerk of the Board of Selectmen, known as the Board of the Town of Adams, Massachusetts, certify that at a meeting of the board held February 1st, 2023, of which meeting all members of the board were duly notified and at which a quorum was present, the following vote was passed, all of which appears upon the official record of the board in my custody. Item 1, to affirm the vote of the board on May 4th, 2022, authorizing the town to issue a bond or bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $7,426,620, known as the bonds, which bonds are to be issued pursuant to Chapters 29C and 44 of the general laws and votes of the town passed June 21st, 2021, Article 26, and November 15th, 2022, Article 1, for planning or construction of sewers and other water pollution control abatement infrastructure, known as the project. Item 2, that in anticipation of the issuance of the bonds, the treasurer is authorized to issue an interim loan note or notes, known as the notes, from time to time in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $7,426,620. 3, that each bond or note shall be issued as a single registered security and sold to the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust, known as the Trust, at a price determined pursuant to the financing agreements. 4, that the treasurer is authorized to determine the date, the form, the maximum interest rate, and the principal maturities of each bond and note, and to execute financing agreements with the trust with respect to the sale of the bonds and notes, such date, form, and maturities, and the specific interest rate or rates of the bonds and notes to be approved by a majority of the Board of Selectmen and the treasurer, and evidenced by their execution of the bonds or notes.
Yes. It's not that I want to hold it, but I just want to know what is going to be our amount that we have to pay as far as our interest rate.
Don't hold me to this, but our interest rate's 2%, and the final amount will be approximately 6.1 million for a 20-year note.
So that's on a 20-year note.
It's 20, right, Kelly?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Is that satisfied?
Yep.
Your question? Okay.
Yep.
Just checking. So number 5, that any certificates or documents relating to each bond and note, collectively the documents, may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be regarded as an original and all of which shall constitute one and the same document. Delivery of an executed counterpart of a signature page to a document by electronic mail in a PDF file or by other electronic transmission shall be as effective as delivery of a manually executed counterpart signature page to such document, and electronic signatures on any of the documents shall be deemed original signatures for the purposes of the documents in all matters relating thereto, having the same legal effect as original signatures. Number 6, that all action taken to date by the town and its officers and agents to carry out the project and its financing, including the execution of any loan commitment or agreement by the treasurer, are hereby ratified, approved, and confirmed. And number 7, that the treasurer and the other appropriate town officials are each hereby authorized to take any and all actions necessary or convenient to carry out the provisions of this vote, including execution and delivery of the financing agreements and the project regulatory agreements relating to the project. I need to continue?
No, those are the 7 items that the board needs to vote on.
Okay, lovely. So since nothing was technically held, we could vote this all in mass as one motion.
I'll make a motion, the board approve the 7 articles as just read for the bond issuance.
Okay. I have a motion by Member Blanchard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Rosenberg. Any discussion or questions?
I just, for
Sure.
clarification, if Rick could say what it's for. It wasn't mentioned.
For
in his-
the bond issuance for the wastewater treatment plant upgrades.
Okay. So an amended motion. Do you second the amendment? Okay.
yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to subcommittee and liaison reports. Howard?
None.
Okay. I actually don't have anything.
I have nothing.
Joe, anything?
Yes, just quickly, there was a board meeting of the members of, well, the new name now is Woodlands Partnership of Northwest Massachusetts, and there was discussion changing the present chairman and vice chairman because of time constraints need to step down, so there'll be a change in that. And I attended the cemetery committee meeting, commission meeting today, and one thing that's been hindering, and I think we need to take a look at it, is the water situation up at Bellevue Cemetery. I think, Jay, you're aware of it, I know, because you were mentioned about wanting to go up there and take a look and see how much work will be needed to rectify that problem. And it's been ongoing for quite a long time, and it makes it difficult for people, because mostly your elderly people go up there, and in order to get to a water spigot, you have to walk quite a distance, and it becomes tough for the elderly to do that. So it's something that's been ongoing, and I think it should be rectified one way or another. So that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. I'll stay down that direction for any announcements and good of the order. Joe?
Announcements and good of the order. Well, there was one thing that, since I have just 2 things, but since Attorney St. John's here, how are we making out with the mobile station? Was that ever rectified with the owner about, there was a little glitch on it, Ransford, if I remember correctly?
I don't think there was any issue. We
Okay,
have a
so we
deed.
have it clear and
We have
everything's...
clear- yeah.
Yeah, right, because now that I remember, it was Duto's property. We gave them a break on the taxes or something.
Well, there was, a fair market value exchange
Okay.
for forgiveness of debt versus the,
Yep.
the value of the property that was
And,
acquired.
once again, I've been asked, and there's no finalization about the mill complex on, because the last time I'd asked you, you said by, I think, January 23rd, a decision was going to be rendered.
Yeah, in fact, I sent the board an email about it tonight. Basically, I received, I think, some very good news from the land court. There are 3 separate tax petitions involved, and the land court is taking them one by one. So the one that you're referring to, land court extended the return date to February 20th, I think it is, for that first parcel that I was telling you about. The other 2 parcels, I've had some good fortune to have somebody down there who's paying attention to these things, and the court issued a couple of orders on some matters that I had requested action on actually 2 years ago. And, as I've told you, over the past 2 years, I've been calling and emailing and trying to get somebody to answer me, and I have somebody now, and so I'm actually very encouraged and hopeful that we're finally getting to the final steps to finalize the tax takings on the 3 parcels.
Great. And the last thing I have is, I read an article by Brian about our last meeting about the community block grants, and it was mentioned in there that because the memorial building had gotten funding 5 years, you have to wait a 5-year period, but it said it was discussed for the bathrooms. I don't remember that discussion. Was there discussion about the bathrooms down there during there? I don't remember it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you mentioned it. The idea is we need funding in order to install better bathrooms for the Council on Aging
Right.
users. Yeah.
I understand that.
We can't use community development
Yeah.
block grant funds for a 5-year period. The money that was used for the heating and air conditioning
Yeah.
system was 2018, so we can't use CDBG funds
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, and that's kind of bothering me because we brought this up about the Council on Aging going there quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I think before we had made any mention of that being a possibility, we should have had at least, the bathrooms ready before making an announcement like that.
I agree.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And because, I don't know. And I don't know, I have a few other things, but I won't bring them out tonight, so that's all I have.
I just have one thing. The Traffic Commission, do you know when the next time, by chance, they're meeting?
I don't know. Melissa Schaffrick is the admin assistant, and the chief is the chairman. They usually try to meet once a month if they have agenda items.
Okay. I have an agenda item. I received complaints about the end of Elm Street, closest to Cumberland Farms, that folks that work in the area, I'm not saying Cumberland Farms or whatever, but are parking on the right there, and if you're trying to turn off of Commercial Street and another car is coming down Elm, you can't get in. So maybe they need to look at making that no parking. I thought at one time it used to be, back when Al's had it. I thought there was a certain distance you couldn't park to the corner. But if they would look into that.
Just send Rick Bree, please, a specific agenda item. She'll forward it to Melissa and have it placed on the agenda
Okay.
for the next time they meet.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the chief may call you.
If I may say something, that I also had some concerns from people as you're going up, let's see, it'd be going south, and you want to enter into Cumberland Farms. You put your directional on, and of course, they think you're going to enter there, but you're going into Elm Street. So, they're just taking for granted you're going into Cumberland, and somebody told me there's been some close calls because the people behind them just think they're going into Cumberland, and they're really going into Elm Street, so, they...
Ms. Race, did you want to come to the podium and share your opinion on that? Although it's not an agenda item, so we actually can't deliberate or discuss it.
And one other thing on Cumberland Farms is that people have also said it's too bad that their coffee are in styrofoam cups, which
Don't-
aren't biodegradable and,
Yeah, we don't have a styrofoam ban.
yeah, right, but I'm just saying
Yep.
that perhaps we should think of one.
I have a couple of things from the library, but I'll save that for another meeting. So, Howard.
I'm good, nothing for me.
Okay. If that is all,
Motion to adjourn.
do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
And I believe our next meeting is going to be Wednesday, February 15th. I don't believe that there is a workshop or anything next week. But we'll wait to listen from the chair
Yeah, I
on that.
don't anticipate one, but Mr. Duval and I will speak before I leave for vacation.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And Ms. Hampman has asked us to stay for signature.
Oh, yeah.
So we will do
I refilled
that.
My pen.